Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something we see, well, constantly. Color. We think we get it right, but maybe it's trickier than it looks.
It definitely is.
Our source today is the Color Design Workbook, a real-world guide to using color in graphic design, and our mission, to unpack color, the science, the psychology, the culture, and figure out how to really use it.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Joseph Albers, a huge name in color studies, said something really insightful. In order to use color effectively, it is necessary to recognize that color deceives continually.
Deceives continually, wow.
Exactly. And Sean Adams, one of the authors, puts it even more strongly. He calls color like a volatile radioactive element. It is extremely powerful and should be handled very, very carefully.
Okay, radioactive. That's intense. It signals this isn't just about picking pretty shades.
Not at all. There's a lot going on beneath the surface.
So let's start at the beginning. We usually think color is part of an object, right? Like
Right.
that apple is red.
That's the common idea, yeah.
But the source says, in a physical sense, there really is no such thing as color. That kind of blows my mind a bit. If it's not real, what are we seeing?
It's a great question. It's not that the experience isn't real, it's that color isn't inherent in the object. What's actually there are light waves, different wavelengths bouncing off things.
Okay, light waves.
And our eyes have these amazing little things called cones. 3 types. They're tuned to pick up red, green, and blue wavelengths of light.
Ah, the RGB receptors.
Exactly. So when light hits an object, bounces off, and hits those cones, our brain interprets those signals. That interpretation is what we call apparent color.
Apparent color, so it's subjective.
Inherently subjective, yes.
Yeah.
It's constructed in our brain. What looks like a specific red to you might genuinely look slightly different to someone else just based on tiny biological variations.
Right, that makes sense. And then how these colors get mixed depends on whether it's light or pigment.
Precisely. You've got additive mixing first. That's the RGB model you mentioned. It's for light sources like screens.
Like my phone screen right now.
Yep. Combine red, green, and blue light, and you get white light. All the colors you see on screen are made by mixing those 3.
Okay, additive is light. What's the other one?
Subtractive mixing. This is for pigments, things that absorb light like inks or paints.
So not adding light, but taking it away.
Kind of, yeah. Think CMY, cyan, magenta, yellow. That's used for transparent inks and printing. Mix all 3, and they absorb most light, so you get black, or close to it.
Right, CMYK includes black for richness.
Exactly. And then there's the older RYB model, red, yellow, blue. That's the traditional artist's primary colors
Yeah.
for opaque paints. Mix those, and you also get a dark, muddy color, basically black.
Interesting how it flips completely depending on light or pigment.
It really is fundamental physics at play there.
So, okay, we have this subjective apparent color.
Right.
How do designers actually, talk about it and control it? What are the handles they use?
Well, they usually break it down into 3 main properties. First is hue.
Hue, that's just the basic color name, right? Red, blue, green.
Exactly, the pure color itself. Then you have saturation.
Saturation. Is that like how intense it is?
Precisely. The purity or vividness. A really saturated red is super vibrant, almost jumps out at you.
Okay.
A low saturation red looks faded, maybe grayish.
Gotcha. And the third?
Brightness, or sometimes called value. That's simply how light or dark the color is.
Okay, hue, saturation, brightness, and by adjusting those, you can get, well, infinite colors, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. An incredible range of variations from just those 3 controls.
Okay, here's where I think it gets really interesting. We know what color is, sort of. But how do we make colors work together? Make them look good or communicate something specific? That's color theory, right?
That's exactly it. Color theory is essentially a set of guiding principles. Think of it like a toolbox for creating combinations that are harmonious or impactful or whatever your goal is.
It's not just random guessing, then.
Definitely not. It's built on centuries of observation and study. People like Isaac Newton mapping the spectrum way back when.
Yeah.
And Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, the poet, he actually studied color's psychological effects, which is fascinating.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Then much later, you get figures like Joseph Albers, whose work, Interaction of Color, is legendary. He really hammered home how colors change based on what's around them.
We keep coming back to that idea of deception and context.
It's central.
Yeah.
And Johannes didn't focus specifically on creating aesthetically pleasing relationships, often using the color wheel.
Ah, the color wheel. I remember that from art class. So how does that help in practice? What are some common ways designers use it to pick palettes?
Well, the 12-step wheel is a great visual tool. You can find relationships easily. For example, complementary colors.
Those are the ones opposite each other.
Exactly, like red and green or blue and orange.
Yeah.
They create really high contrast, make each other seem brighter, more vibrant, can be quite dynamic.
Okay. What else?
Then you have analogous colors. These are neighbors on the wheel, maybe a blue-green, and a green.
So low contrast.
Very low contrast, yeah. Creates a much more serene, unified feel. Very harmonious.
Nice. Any others?
Sure. Triadic schemes use 3 colors evenly spaced around the wheel, like the primaries. Red, yellow, blue. It's balanced, but still quite vibrant.
Okay, balanced contrast.
And then there's monochromatic. That's just using different shades, tints, and tones of one single hue, like all blues, from light to dark.
That sounds quite sophisticated.
It often is, yeah. Very cohesive.
It makes sense that there are these frameworks, but the source also mentions 8 rules for building a color palette. Given that color deceives continually, like Albert said, what's a rule that's maybe harder than it sounds? Or where do people often mess up?
That's a really good question. I think rule 4, remember that context is everything. Sounds simple, but it's incredibly easy to forget in practice.
How so?
Well, you pick a color, maybe on a screen or a little swatch, it looks perfect. But then you put it in your actual design next to other colors under different lighting. And suddenly it's completely wrong. Maybe dull, maybe garish.
Because its neighbors changed how it looks.
Exactly. That interaction Albers talked about. The rule isn't just knowing context matters. It's the discipline of constantly checking the color in its final context, realizing its appearance isn't fixed. That's the hard part.
Right. You have to see it in situ, as they say. Okay, so moving beyond just the aesthetics.
Right.
How does color really affect us emotionally, communication-wise?
Oh, profoundly. Color isn't just visual decoration. It functions like a language, a very emotional, symbolic language.
Oh, language.
Yeah. The colors you choose send signals about tone, about meaning, often unconsciously.
Right.
Getting that right is critical if you want to communicate effectively, whether it's branding or art, or even just getting dressed.
And that meaning can shift dramatically depending on culture, right? I remember reading about that. The source has that color index table. Any examples jump
Yeah,
out?
loads. Take purple.
Yeah.
In many Western cultures, we associate it with royalty, luxury, maybe spirituality. But the source points out, in Thailand, it's the color of mourning. Big difference.
Wow. Yeah. You wouldn't want to get that wrong.
Yeah. Definitely not. Or think about green. In Islam, it signifies paradise. In Ireland, it has strong historical ties to Protestantism. Yet it's also widely seen as calming, easy on the eyes, hence its use in hospitals.
So many layers. It really shows you need to be careful.
Absolutely. Context again, but this time cultural context.
So given all this, how much does color really sway our initial judgments, like that first impression?
Apparently a huge amount. There's research cited from the Institute for Color Research. Get this. All human beings make an unconscious judgment about a person, environment, or item within 90 seconds of initial viewing.
90 seconds.
And between 62% and 90% of that assessment is based on color alone.
Wait, up to 90% just based on color?
Up to 90%. It's staggering, isn't it? It basically means color is doing most of the heavy lifting in that initial gut reaction.
That's incredible. No wonder Carl Jung called colors the mother tongue of the subconscious.
Perfectly put. It bypasses rational thought and hits us on a much deeper level.
Okay, this makes those 10 rules of color from the source seem even more important. They're not just design tips. They're about navigating this powerful subconscious language.
Exactly. And they blend everything, the physics, the psychology, the practicalities, even economics. Rule 4, context is everything. We talked about that one. It hammers home Albert's point. A color has many faces.
Its appearance and meaning change depending on what's next to it, the lighting.
Right, that whole idea of simultaneous contrast, how adjacent colors influence each other. A gray might look bluish next to yellow or yellowish next to blue. It's fascinating.
Which probably leads right into Rule 5. Consider that experimentation is key.
Definitely. Picasso famously asked, why do 2 colors put next to each other sing? Can we really explain this? No. Sometimes you just have to try things.
Play around with it.
Yeah, don't just stick rigidly to the harmony rules. Experimentation can lead to unexpected, really powerful results. Discovering those unique interactions, Eden talked about like contrasts of light and dark, warm and cool, and so on.
Makes sense. You can't discover if you don't explore. Now, Rule 6 is interesting. Know that people see color differently.
This is crucial. Color vision isn't uniform. Genetics play a big role. Color blindness affects way more men than women, for instance.
Right, red-green color blindness is common.
Exactly. And vision also changes with age. So as a designer, you absolutely cannot assume everyone sees color the way you do.
So what's the practical takeaway there?
Contrast is key, especially lightness contrasts the difference between light and dark. The source emphasizes that exaggerating lightness differences is often more helpful for people with visual impairments or color deficiencies than just changing the hue. It's about accessibility.
That's a really important point for inclusive design.
Okay,
Rule 7. Assist in mnemonic value. Mnemonic meaning memory aid.
exactly. Helping people remember things. And the statistic here is wild. Marketing research indicates that more than 80% of visual information is related to color.
80%. So color is a massive shortcut for our brains.
Huge. Think about signs. Red means stop, green means go. Or branding. You often recognize a brand just by its signature color.
Like Coca-Cola red or Tiffany blue.
Precisely. Though, again, these associations can be cultural, but the power of color as a memory trigger is universal.
Which links perfectly to Rule 9. Use standardized color systems. Why is that so important?
Consistency. If your brand's color is that specific Tiffany blue, you need it to look the same, whether it's on your website, a printed box, or a billboard. Systems like Pantone for spot colors, or CMYK for print, or RGB hex for digital power, they provide a common language.
So everyone's seeing from the same color hymn sheet.
Basically, yeah. It ensures the brand identity doesn't get diluted or look messy across different applications.
But then Rule 10 throws a spanner in the works. Understand limitations.
Ah, yes, the reality check. Technology isn't perfect. What you see on your bright backlit computer screen often won't look exactly the same when printed with ink on paper.
Ah, the classic WYSIWG problem, or as the source calls it, WYSIPMWYG.
What you see is probably not what you'll get. Yep. Screens use additive light, RGB. Print uses subtractive ink, CMYK mostly. They just behave differently. The range of colors, the brightness, it shifts.
Because how do you manage that?
Communication is key. Talk to your printer. Understand the process. And the source suggests practical things, like requesting ink drawdowns.
What's that?
It's basically a real sample of your chosen ink, printed on your actual chosen paper stock. So you see exactly how it will look, rather than just relying on the screen or a generic swatch book. It manages expectations.
That sounds essential for getting print right. Wow, we've really gone from light waves hitting eyeballs to the nitty-gritty of print production.
It's a huge topic, from pure physics to deep psychology and cultural nuance, right down to practical application.
It really drives home that color is so much more than just decoration. It's this active force, this language.
Absolutely. It's constantly interacting with us, influencing us, communicating, often without us even realizing it. It's not passive, it's an active participant in our experience.
So, thinking about that Sean Adams quote again, that limitations motivate creativity, and knowing how tricky and powerful color is. Here's something for you, the listener, to maybe think about. What small color-related limitation could you maybe impose on yourself, on a project, or just how you look at the world for a day? Maybe try seeing only shades of blue, or designing something with just 2 complementary colors. Could that kind of constraint spark something new for you?
That's a fascinating challenge, limiting yourself to see more.
Exactly, something to ponder.